Well, there were two politicians who had interesting takes on what you were doing. In 1996, Senator John McCain, who was a huge boxing fan, but he railed against the UFC on the floor of the US Senate. He called it human cockfighting. And he sent letters to the governor of every state asking them to ban it. And then Donald Trump came along right when the whole business may have been up for grabs. It may not have flown, it may just have sunk. And Donald Trump turned up and stayed late at one of your events. And he carried on supporting you. And you've stayed friends ever since. How important, well, first of all, tell me about John McCain. How did you feel when he called it basically cockfighting?
Yeah, that happened before we bought the company. So that was one of the uphill battles that we had. Obviously, Senator John McCain did everything for the right reasons. He wanted this thing to be regulated by the Athletic Commission, rules in place and referees and judges and proper medical testing and all that stuff. We agreed with Senator John McCain when we bought the company, and we ran toward regulation, and we wanted to get this thing regulated by all the athletic commissions, not only in the country, but throughout the world. And then, Donald Trump, when we bought the company, you know, venues didn't want this. There were no venues that wanted this thing. Now, we break every venue record all over the world, and venues everywhere want us to come. But in the beginning, nobody did. But Donald Trump saw this thing early, saw that he thought it could be successful. When you think about it, the Trump brand was here. The UFC brand was here. And he brought us in, cut us a great deal, showed up to the first fight, stayed to the last fight for both of the events that we put on in his casino. And everything that ever happened to me throughout the rest of my career, Donald Trump was the first guy to either pick up the phone and call and say congratulations or write a note and send something. He was always that guy. Then Donald Trump and his son got in and actually started to compete with the UFC. So with another company. And you would always have these media people trying to put me against Trump and say, oh, and my whole thing was, I will never say anything bad about this guy. He was extremely good to me, not only in the early days, but throughout the rest of my career. And, that's all that stuff is what started the incredible relationship that I have with Donald Trump.
I mean, I've seen the good side of Trump, and we've all seen some of the bad side of him. You've remained, for reasons you've explained, extremely loyal to him. How hard is that sometimes to do that publicly?
It's not hard at all, because how I judge people is how my relationship is with them. I can have a friend that 15 other people don't like for whatever reason. I judge them off their relationship with me. And I can tell you from personal experience, Donald Trump has never been anything but loyal and incredible and an amazing friend to me.
Do you think he can become president again?
I do. I mean, people thought he couldn't become president the first time, and he did. I absolutely think he could do it again. Listen, the forces are fighting against him. They're trying to do everything they can to make sure that this guy does not even have a chance to be elected again. But yes, I mean, a majority of the country wants this guy to be the next president of the United States.
How often do you talk to him?
I talk to him several times a month. I just talked to him last week. He and I are very close. We're very good friends. I consider him a very good friend of mine, and we talk a lot.
What do you talk about?
Fights. He's a fight fan. He's a fight freak. He loves fights. Mostly what we talk about is fights. He's a fight fan, and we talk about other things, family and stuff like that too, but mostly we talk about fights.